let's get started.
Sweet.
So how was your week?
It's been busy, but also like with outside of pickleball. But it's been good in general. Which is like this stuff happens and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
let's see here. How was yours?
good. Yeah, lots of pickleball. Can't be bad.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the weather hasn't been like the greatest for where I'm at.
Yeah.
So but I think I played I think 3 days
Okay.
instead of my usual like 5 or 6. Um so I played 3 days, and plus there was the Super Bowl, Super
Yeah.
Bowl weekend and stuff like that.
Right.
And it kind of rained here on a day, and yeah. So let's see here. So the drilling this week wasn't the greatest, just
Okay.
because my friend hurt his back.
Uh,
So he hurt his back, so he wasn't able to do some of the things that I wanted to do,
right.
which, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I did see just like an immediate improvement just with the mentality that you told me to have, like to approach with.
Good.
So that was really great, just like having like a just don't be afraid and be hungry for it,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like, even though it might be my weakness, like I had the mindset of like give me this is my opportunity to like overcome that weakness.
Sure.
So that was really good, mentality wise. And I was thinking like I started like looking into a little bit more of like the mental game of it, which is I think is a lot more important than I realized. So that's really good. Um, I did see a slight improvement with the drilling that I did do.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to tell, like, to see improvement just by like a couple of days of drilling, but
Sure.
I felt more comfortable, and I think it's also with the mental aspect of it, just like, it just made me more alert and more focused. And I also taken on the mentality of um, even my rec games. Like I try to pretend that they're um, they're my tournament games,
Yeah.
so that I can I could practice that kind of having that focus and that mindset of every point, because it's easy to get lazy in rec play,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So that's good. And then a couple of things did I do have questions for you.
Yeah.
You want to hear that? And then I've also recorded some games that you maybe will you could take a look at, and we can kind of go from there. So my question is, um, so that middle ball left hand, like, so since I'm playing left-handed now, both sometimes both my our forehands are in the middle, sometimes both our backhands are in the middle, right? um and even with stacking, sometimes you don't always stack, like, you mix it up, sometimes you don't always stack
Yeah.
perfectly. So my question is, that middle ball, that ball that comes straight to the middle, and it's also hit from the middle court, like from the middle of the court, so it's kind of hard. So when it's coming from a certain angle or direction, you
Yeah.
can use like the X. You've heard of the X, right? Where if a ball is coming from one angle, then the person on the other side is usually going to get it, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so then that usually is understandable, that, like, so if the other so then the problem that I'm having is like that middle ball when it's going like
Yeah.
straight at us in the middle, and we have either both forehands or both backhands. Like who's supposed to get that? It's kind of hard to um, when we're both at the kitchen and it's like so fast. Do you have
Yeah.
any advice on that?
Yeah. If it's coming from the middle, I would say whoever was already at the kitchen. So like if you hit the return a serve and your partner's already up, usually your partner should take that middle ball, just because they're already up and they only have to take one step while you're trying to finish like 10 steps and then you have to take another step. It's a lot more difficult. So I'd say that, or other factors, if your partner's whoever's better maybe takes it. Another factor is like if you have one thing I would recommend, especially with being a lefty, is if you clash paddles or if a ball goes by where neither of you takes it, sometimes it's awkward and like secretly deep down you hate your partner and they hate you. So it's a little bit of an awkward moment. But if you can turn to your partner and just be like, who's taking that next time? And like not even like not upset or anything, but just like asking them what they want. And then you just do, and then if they're like, I'm taking it, it's like, okay, you got it. And if they say you got it, the next time you got it. Just so, because probably one of the best things in pickleball is if you can have one mistake happen and then you fix it, that's pretty good. Things go a lot better. But if the same mistake happens 3-5 times, then it can become a big problem.
Cool. So if we're both at the kitchen, then and then it goes by us, then just kind of communicate with your partner, right? Okay.
Yeah. Or you could even talk to them before you play with them. Be like, hey, like I'm a lefty. If it comes right in the middle, do you want it or should I? Like you could even talk about it.
Oh yeah, that's really great. Yeah. Just say it beforehand, and then that way,
Sure.
like there's no like there's no confusion or resentment or anything like that. Usually I would just say like, oh, my fault, like my bad, and then we just like move
That's
on.
good. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's really smart too. Just especially in a tournament, even if it's totally my partner's fault, I'm like, oh, my fault. Like, just because they don't want to feel bad or anything. So
You don't want to. You want to like stay positive and not be fun. You don't want to be like 1 against 3 as opposed it's already 2 against 2, but you don't want like 1 against 3 where you're like fighting your partner too, right?
Yeah, I've done that, and you can't beat your partner. Yeah. Anyway.
So related to that question is I've noticed that it was clear that it was my ball.
Yeah.
And it was coming to the middle, but like I haven't been able to get used to, I guess, playing lefty.
Yeah.
Like I'm used to playing lefty by hitting the ball, but like the spacing, right?
Sure.
Like maybe it's a little bit closer to me and I should have got it, right?
Yeah.
When it was my forehand, and like I kind of like I'm kind of a passive player, so I tend to like let my partner get more,
Sure.
So is there a way to practice or drill that to like be more aware of what you should be getting, if that makes sense?
I mean, probably the best thing's experience with that. But it might be another mentality situation where, I mean, if it comes to your space and it's to your forehand, just like I want the ball. So if it's to you, take it.
Yeah. If it's to me, it's obvious. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But it's more about like it's more about questionable, right? And then when I realized like, oh, that was obviously my fault, like a ball whizzed past me and it was within my forehand. Sure. I'm just not used to it. I'm just not used to taking it.
Honestly, the answer is you or your partner could probably take it, even if it's your ball or their ball. As long as one of you knows you're taking it, it's probably going to work out relatively okay. So when I play with someone I'm not used to playing with, or maybe I don't know, like usually it's someone I'm not used to playing with, or if it's questionable, I'll call it. like I'll say mine, or I'll say yours. And then even if I'm wrong on the call, as long as one of us is going for it, it usually ends up pretty good. So that's one thing you could do. And it's not, especially if it's a middle ball, it's not that annoying. Just be like, hey, mine or yours. And then there's no confusion. Usually the biggest problem is when both of you are going for it. And then like one of you is like, oh, he's going. But then anyways, that's probably the biggest problem. So just say mine or yours, even if you're off a little bit, it will be worth it.
Yeah, I usually do a good job of communicating you or mine, but sometimes there's situations where you just don't have time. You don't have time to call out yours or mine. So yeah, I guess to sum it up, probably just like could just keep on like going for those balls more, and then like if it's questionable, still go for it. And then I'll learn through experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say also just give it time.
Okay, give it time. Yeah.
Like I'm like, compared to being a righty, if I had to become a lefty today, it would take me probably a couple months to like completely figure it out. Yeah. And then same with your partner. Some of your partners probably don't play with lefties as much, and so they're figuring it out too. Right. So yeah, like you'll become a master of being a lefty. So yeah, just give yourself some time, and yeah, you'll be good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then yeah. So do you want to watch some footage, or what do you think? Okay.
Well, let's finish talking about last week. So 3 days of playing. How many hours of playing rec, and how many hours of drilling?
So I would say I played about 10 hours of rec, and I had 3 hours of drilling.
Okay.
Yeah, just because of like the weather and football stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's still more than a lot of players get to play, so you're still lucky. Yeah. Okay, and then what did you do for the drilling?
Drilling, I did a lot of I did volleying, I did drops, I did let's see here, some dinking, like cross court, like trying to be more aggressive with my dinks. And then we did that drill game that you told me about, like like 2 dinks and then speed it up. Okay. And that went really well. So I was really happy with that that game that you told me to do. Good. And I think my partner that I was drilling with really enjoyed doing that too. He had a lot of fun doing that. Nice. So that was a lot of fun, that speed up game. And also what else? Also some like mid-court resets and blocks. And yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so a couple things with it. One is, so you said last time your biggest strength is your drops. Would you still say that?
I would say, yeah, my biggest strength is my drops, and I'm pretty decent at resetting. Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
Nice. So I'd say for your drops, when you're playing games, especially if it's your biggest strength, keep working on your drop. Like if you master your drop, that's probably the biggest way to shoot up in pickleball. It's the hardest shot to do, but it's also the most valuable. So yeah, keep, like when you're playing games, I'd say pretty much until you're like a 4 or 5, pretty much only drop, just to practice it, if anything. Other reasons why I like to drop, if I hit a really good drive, one thing I can't control is if my opponents hit a really good block. Like they possibly could, even if I don't think they can, they could. If I hit even a pretty good drop, there's really not much they can do to punish me for it or to do anything. So you have not as much risk with more reward. as well as if I drop it and my partner and I get to the kitchen, that's one less area my partner can mess up at. Oftentimes with the drive, if I drive it at the opponents and then they block it at my partner and my partner's a little weaker or whatever, it's just one more area they can potentially mess up. So anyways, I am a big fan of the drop. I like.
Well, I watched your video, and that was great. Just even though I couldn't hear anything, I was watching how he was adjusting to what you were saying.
Yeah.
So I was trying to so that was super helpful, and I try to do that with my drops recently as well. But there was also something else it just reminded me of because I feel confident with my drops. I started to want to do more with, which is like put more toast on it or more of a slice on it.
Sure.
I felt as though maybe I was trying to do too much too soon, or maybe I'm just trying to do too much in general. What do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I'd say if you're playing people that are weaker than you, then do those kind of drops more. Also, because if you miss, it's not as big of a deal. That's probably a time more to practice things you're less good at, such as that. You will, if you practice it, for example, when I'm practicing keeping somebody back, like they're practicing their drops, I'll do one or two nice ones, and then I'll go 110% of what I'm capable of. Normally in a real game, I'm only going 80 or 90% just to make sure it goes in while also putting pressure. But if I go 110%, I'm going to miss like 1 out of 6, 1 out of 10. It's more than I'm capable of, but also gradually my 100% is going to go up. Like in a week or two, my 110% is going to become my 100%, etc. So over time, in like 3 months, my old 110% is now my 80%, and it's just what I'm used to, and I'm consistent with it. So it's the same with the drops. If you go for a better drop than what you're really capable of now, gradually it's going to become your base. So it's a good investment, but also like if you're in a competitive game, you might lose because of that, which isn't the end of the world. But sometimes it also if you're the one missing that all the time and your partner's not missing anything, maybe it's just a little odd to keep doing it, right?
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb is like when don't try to do too much against people that are better than you, and then like get the practice in, push yourself a little bit when you have the opportunity when playing people that are not as good as you.
Yeah.
And then also if you start doing it and then it's not working out, then maybe back off a little bit.
Yeah, and that's a great point all the time. For example, so I've had a tournament where my backhand flip shot, which is normally one of my strongest shots, it wasn't working. And after a little while, I'm like, okay, this isn't working and it's not getting better. I can't do that shot today. And then I found other ways to win. And that only ever happened one time, and it probably will never happen again. But yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, this isn't working. I have to do something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's regular.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I would say in drilling, don't practice the drops really, because you're already good at it. When you're playing, focus, like that's when you can be focusing on improving your drops, etc. For the drilling time, focus on the fast hands. And then once again, if you can get someone who's like a tennis player who can practice driving it at you, even if you just did it an hour or two, it's going to be a really nice investment. That's going to be, if you do it for 2 hours, that's like 3 or 4 weeks worth of regular play, and you can really isolate it. So that'll be good. And then one more note is I would say usually try to work on one drill for an hour. If you need to, you can like make a game out of it where you're keeping score. But usually if you're just working on everything for 15 minutes, you're going to just improve it a tiny bit. When if you work on something for longer, you can actually see a notable improvement. And so yeah, that's usually what I do. I'll work on one thing or maybe two things in an hour, and then maybe I move on. Or sometimes I'll do one thing for 2 hours. Like it's just I found more success doing that. But yeah, but let's so yeah, focus on the blocks this week as well as the fast hands. Let's shore up those weaknesses a little bit, and then we'll see what we need to work on after that. Okay, do you have? Can you get me maybe send to my email the link to your
Yeah, I
play?
can just put it in the chat real quick.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And then, let's do this game. So this group is my 3540 group. Just a heads up. And let me know if you want a better angle or because this is an angle where like I can get most of my side of the court, but it's not as close up. So
Okay. Okay. Chat. Perfect. 1 second.
and then did you want to share screen?
Yeah, I'll share the screen. Yeah. Pardon everyone at home, technical difficulties. 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. I'm okay. I'm actually watching now. Let's go.
Oh,
Okay. Not the best drops. That's okay. Okay. So you did good on that one. You set up for your drop early. Honestly, they hit it right to you, so you only had to like move your paddle into position, but you did really good at that. So good work with that. Like yeah, set up early. That way you're just worrying about hitting the ball rather than moving to the ball and hitting it at the same time. So that was really good. And then we'll actually watch this a little bit again. Your paddle position was a little bit low. Do you think about like your ready position while you're playing?
so yeah, I've been very conscious of this, and I've been trying to get better at it. At my ready position,
Yeah.
I have a bad habit of dropping my paddle too low
Mhm.
and not getting it back into my ready position. I'm very conscious of it, but I haven't been able to get there either quick enough or I might forget about it, and yeah, it kind of just drops to my side. Yeah, I'm not sure how to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, so just very consciously as you play, like after you hit a shot, ready position, like just get to your ready position. Like I'll stand up real fast. So like my ready position, usually like so you're a bit taller, so it's not going to be as high as some people, but it's usually like stomach level probably for you. And then you want your arm out in front, not too far out in front. And there's lots of videos on it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just have it up, especially if the ball's below the net, they're going to have to attack up. And so if the ball's going to come higher to you, so if your paddle's down, you're going to have to come up with it. So like watching this one again. So he's attacking from below the net. Like both these guys are, it's just a little bit below the net, as well as they're not high 4.5s or whatever. So they're gonna usually when they attack, it's gonna go up a little bit more. So I'd say for now, especially have your paddle higher up for your ready position.
Okay.
Unless they're attacking from high, and then it's probably not going to come as high. But yeah, that's one thing I see right there.
Okay.
Good shot. Good. Yeah, when you're playing, try to recognize fast if you're hitting a good drop or a bad drop, etc., and just act accordingly. A couple of the earlier drops, it just felt like you were watching your drop, like you weren't sure if it was going to be good or bad.
So I have a bad habit of that. Yeah, I have a bad habit of like watching it for too long and not actually moving, like identifying it early enough to move faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and this was long ago too. I got enough experience where I could kind of feel of if I hit a good drop or not. And part of the feeling is it's like, okay, I either hit a good drop or I missed. Like, I didn't pop this drop up. There's no way I popped this up. It's either a good drop I missed. So if I missed, it doesn't really matter.
So,
uh-huh.
So just to be clear, I think you gave me kind of an epiphany. It's not based on how it looks. It's more based on how I how I feel, how I hit it. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that actually gives me more time to like I know to move up sooner. Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not a visual thing, it's more of a feeling thing when I hit my drop. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to feel it before you see it. And part of it is maybe initially you have to watch it a little bit, but then when afterwards be like, okay, I hit that really good. What was the feeling with it? And then memorize the feeling.
Oh, that gives me so much more time because what I normally do is I hit the drop and I wait for it to see if it's a good drop or not. Then I move. But it's more based off of feeling. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, thank you so much.
Good. And then when your partner's hitting it, I mean, when you hit it, you have that advantage. When your partner's hitting it, you have to watch more. So like when they're hitting it, really like intently watch. And then as like the sooner you recognize it, the better for you, whether to go up or not. So yeah, it's easier when you're hitting in the drop. It's harder when your partner is. So you have to pay a little more attention when your partner's hitting.
Oh, interesting. Because when my partner hits the drop, I usually am already moving. And then if I see if it's a bad drop, then I just like split step and I hold my position in the mid court or the transition zone, right? So I always thought it was easier for my partner to hit it because I'm already moving, you know, like and then if it's bad, then I stop. But then if it's good, then I keep going, you know?
Yeah. I would say, well,
is that bad that I'm already moving?
So one of the ways that it could be okay is you can watch the return of serve if it's really good or if it's not as good. If it's a really good return of serve, then definitely wait. If it's less good of a return of serve, if you feel like your partner is going to hit a pretty good drop off of the return, like maybe it's hit short or maybe your partner's really good at drops, it depends on the situation, then potentially you can start moving in already. But otherwise, I would so basically it just depends on how long you have to watch. Sometimes you have to watch longer before you can start moving up. Sometimes you can just be like, oh, he's got this. And then you start moving up. And then if they completely mess up, that's on them, right? And then if they completely mess up 2 or 3 times in a row, it's like, well, now I can't go up. Thanks, partner. So yeah, just some thoughts with it. But yeah, so that's watching and knowing when to go up on the drop. Can you bend your knees a little more?
Yeah, I have a that's I'm trying to do better. I have a bad habit of not bending my knees enough or getting low enough. And it's part of my, it's me being overweight as well,
No, that's fair.
And yeah, one of the things that I've learned with you pushing my drilling is that I've been working out more
Really?
to get more, athletic, for pickleball, which is great, yeah. I
Yeah,
realized like there's other things that I could do to improve my pickleball game without even playing pickleball, that's
sure.
yeah, so that's really good. Yeah, I'll try to bend my knees more.
Okay. Yeah, and it's just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just pretend you're. I mean, whether it's you pretend you're playing in, like it's like how you're talking earlier. You were pretending like you were in a tournament that mattered.
Yeah.
Pretend like you're at the end of the year 4-0 nationals and you're playing that game. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do there? And if you've been practicing all year, what you're going to do, it's going to be easy. But if you're now like, oh, now I have to bend, like it's going to be harder to do that. And that's why even in drilling, sometimes I'll get mad at myself because it's like, man, imagine I'm at the nationals in the gold medal match and I fluffed this shot. Like I
Because
was
I
like,
didn't bend my knees.
or not even knees, but it's like, wow, I missed that. Like I'm gonna miss that in a regular game, then I'll miss it in a tournament. So anyways, it's I'm a little more focused and a little harder on myself just because I don't want that to happen in the critical moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, just pay a little more attention to that. It's an easy way to play better without having to do too much.
So there, my ready position was okay, or it needs to be higher.
Let's watch it again. So your partner let him take it out of the air, which is less good because then you have less time to react. So your partner popped it up, so that's more on them. He hit a pretty good shot. I would say your partner hit it to more of the corner, which the further over the ball is, the more you have to cover the middle. So the problem was you didn't have enough time to really get over because he took it out of the air and your partner popped it up. But I would actually like you probably with your left foot over the center line right there.
Okay.
So you can cover the middle easier.
How about my paddle? Is it too low still?
Yeah, with him hitting it below the net, I would have it probably 8 inches higher.
Okay.
And then also, if he attacks this far ball, it's probably not going to come to your backhand. Like probably 10% of the time, it's going to come to your backhand. 90% of the time, it's going to come to your forehand.
Right.
Especially because he's like reaching for it. It's harder. And so you can sit on forehand here where basically instead of like your paddle's right in the middle, you can turn it where like then you're just waiting for the forehand.
Right. So, depending on where the ball is, I could adjust my ready position to be like either forehand heavy or backhand heavy, depending on the angle that's going to come to me on. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And part of it is
conscious of that.
Part of it is like it's way harder for him to hit backhand. So if he hits back, and also if he hits it to your backhand, you have more time to react. So anyways, sometimes, and this is a lot of pickleball, sometimes you have to pick one shot or the other of what they're going to hit. And if you pick the high percentage where, okay, he's going to hit this 80% of the time, I'm going to be ready for that. And then if the 20% happens, you hopefully get it. But if you don't, okay, well, I would have won the 80%. I mean, that's where you start winning more pickleball.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Probably 5 minutes more and we'll call it good. Yeah. And he hit a good shot. Sometimes, yeah, just make him hit good shots over and over. He'll probably start missing.
Right.
You know what I'm going to say about that? Never backhand drive.
Oh, I wasn't. Was that a backhand drive?
The
other person. Yeah. The other person. Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, never backhand drive at home, folks. I mean, you're taking smaller steps to adjust, and that's fine. I would say just make them a little more deliberate. It just feels like it's a little casual. Just make it like, okay, I'm taking this step. I'm taking this step. Whatever movement you're gonna do, just like make it a little more concrete. You'll move a little faster, as well as it'll just be. I think it'll be easier for you.
Mm-hmm.
So on that serve, actually, it looks like you're maybe 4/5 over. You're like in the far corner.
Yeah.
I would say I would take one more step towards the middle. That way you like I'm usually about 2/3 over. That way I get more angles. Like I don't want to be right in the middle, like near the center line. But I don't want to be too far by the sideline. So yeah, I'd say just one more step over. And then also so it's easiest for him to hit it on like basically cross court, but more in the middle. So I would be more standing further over there. And then if he hits it way far cross court, that's probably the hardest shot for him to hit. So yeah, if anything, make people hit you the harder shot. They're going to miss it more. They're like, take away the easier shots. And then if they hit the harder shot, try to get it, do your best. But yeah, take away the harder shots.
Yeah, I never thought of that. I always thought that by the farther I go to the side line, then the more of an angle I could create on my serve. But
that's true. And yeah, that is true. So that's one reason I stand 2/3 over. So I do have more angles. But like, for example, if you're going to serve there, I want you to take 1.5 big steps over towards the middle right after.
Oh, I see. Okay, got what you're saying.
And also like, yeah, it should be like an automatic reaction. Like, oh, I'm serving way over there. I'm out of position. Move towards the middle. Now I'm good.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
Nice. Oh, good shot.
Oh, thanks.
When you're serving, what are you trying to do?
Just keep it deep and to the corner to create the most angle.
Okay. Let's see, like that serve. Right?
Yeah, that was short.
Yeah, a little short. Try to get it usually with the serve. I mean, you could give that more like rotation where you're like getting more power on it with like rotating your body. Whether it's your hips or your legs or your shoulders, whatever it is. So you could rotate a little more to get more power, but then also usually I would say try to hit your serve like 3 feet above the net. That's going to naturally get the serve deeper. And
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, aim your serve about 3 feet above the net. That's going to help.
Higher. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and also like you think of like a drive. The reason why we don't drive higher is because they can take it out of the air. They have to let the serve bounce. So there's no risk with that.
Oh, yeah. My goal is always the great thing about this court is my goal is always to get into the green area whenever I serve.
Okay. Yeah, that does help. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. And you're supportive partner, so that's good. Like you're paddle tapping, you're supporting your partner, so I mean that makes things more fun, as well as your partner will play better. So yeah, that's good for you. Look at you. That was really good. Man.
They're also aware that I'm working on this, so they're actually trying to speed it up against me.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Like to beat you or just to push you?
Push me. They're actually trying to help me out by speeding it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's nice of them. Good. Okay. And I mean, look at you here. You look confident. You're like, hit the ball to me. So yeah, I like your mentality. I can see it right here. You look strong right there. So yeah, keep that up. And yeah, if you can apply that to more spots, like you're leaning forward, I think your knees are bent here. And yeah, you're just really engaged. If you can do that more often, good things will definitely happen. Okay, awesome.
Cool. Thank you so much, Austin. This is awesome.
Yeah, good work.
So how was that angle, by the way? Did you want it closer or is it okay?
It's okay, especially because you're on the other side, so
Well, yeah,
I can see it better.
Myself on the other side,
Right.
but I can go closer. But I also remember you saying that you wanted to see what they were hitting to me, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say like if I were filming it for myself, I'd want to see my opponents at the baseline a little better, actually.
Oh, okay.
But so this is pretty good, especially to focus on you. Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so
thank you so much, Austin.
So hopefully this week's a little more chill where you can get back to your regular stuff. Yeah. So if your friend's still hurt or whatever, try to find someone else. Try to enable your drilling.
Luckily, I have like 2 people that I drill with, so
okay.
It was only one person, yeah, that kind of couldn't do it, but
yeah. And then try to if you can, 1 or 2 other people that could potentially drill. Just like to talk to people, try to build your network of drillers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want you to have success with the logistics, because usually sometimes that's the hardest part.
And then one last thing is whenever you're in the LA area, let me know, or
Okay.
the Southern California area. We would love to, like I talked to my friends, we would love to have you come over and do a clinic.
Yeah.
And then also while you're in the area, I would also love to do private lessons with you as well. So
yeah. Okay, wonderful.
Let us know. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think in the next little bit, but I definitely will be there this year when I can. So yeah, I'll let you know.
Probably
Awesome.
Newport is probably like the big tournament in this area, but we'll see. But yeah. All right, great. Thank you very much, Austin.
Yeah, good work. Yeah, keep track of what you do this week, and yeah, we'll go over next week.
Cool, awesome.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you. Good work.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the advice, and it's super helpful.
Wonderful. Let's see.